Sorry we're a little late. We had to get Trump and Brad out of the Purple Diamond. We were just talking about that. episode episode 35. We're here. We're a little late. Like I said, I guess you was in some traffic today.
Yeah, so just telling Brandon that Trump was in town today, and I was trying to get off at Sycamore View, and well, that was the first one I ran into. They had a protest that was on Sycamore View, and it started in front of a old strip club that was in Memphis, the Purple Diamond. So that was just very hilarious.
Purple Church.
Yeah. Then I got stuck on 50, or I got stuck on 240, I think it was, somewhere like right by the airport. I got stuck on the interstate because they shut it all down so he could come through town. Then he had to get on the plane. The plane's got to take off, and then they open the interstate back up. So I got caught in two incidents.
Why did they have the
town.
interstate closed all or stopped if he was on the plane? Like, what was the purpose
Well,
of
the
that?
plane takes off. So like they shut it down before the airport. So like I guess the idea is if somebody's standing on the interstate with a missile launcher, they can't hit the plane. I guess is what the idea of that is.
And I'd be willing to bet they have those in Memphis. Somebody somewhere has one.
So yeah, I think that's like the idea behind the shutting it down or whatever. But yeah, he was at Graceland, and I had to make a delivery kind of close to Graceland, and then I jumped on the interstate trying to beat it because I saw he was there on Action News 5 was live, and he was on there. And then by the time I got on the interstate, he'd already left and then was cutting across Shelby Drive. And so they shut it all down right there. But it didn't stay down too long, just long enough to inconvenience you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
so you just followed Trump around all day.
It felt like it for a minute. Yeah. It was like, so yeah, that was an interesting part of my day today.
Yeah. If I had actually,
also we had. Coming. Well, the day started out very rough because Kim went back to work today. Yeah. So that was her first day back to work since we've had the baby and stuff. And so we started out with that this morning, very emotional morning. And so I kind of got to work a little bit late to begin with anyways. And so then we chased around Trump around town all day. So yeah, we're here a little bit late. And then got off a little bit late, had to stop and get food, then get home, make sure everybody's good as they can be, and then rush over here. So.
Did she do all right? What time did she leave early today? She work all day, or
no? She didn't get through. She's like, they can fire me if they want to. I'm getting there late today. So yeah, so she was a little bit late today. So yeah, but
I'm sure they don't care.
But like I said, it's a blessing that your mom is able to take care of her, and you don't have to leave her to daycare or anything like that. So that definitely helps out. It's not be way more emotional if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got two grandmas that would probably do anything that we needed them to. So we're pretty lucky.
What's she gonna call your mom?
I don't know those.
You don't know yet?
I don't even know.
Okay.
We've probably been told, but I can't remember stuff from yesterday.
I
so
got you.
I have to be told several times for it to beat into my brain.
Yeah.
And then I'll remember it.
I understand. So. Well, thank you, Nene, for taking care of my niece. We appreciate that.
Yes, we do appreciate that for sure.
Well, you got to chase Trump around. You had an emotional day. I had a long week, very long week.
Well, we left off where you were stuck in Nashville. And so you were stuck in Nashville. You still had to get to North Carolina the next day. So you can pick up the story from there.
Yeah, I can't remember everything we talked about last week. I was sitting in the truck, and it was pitiful quality on my part, but I was doing it from my iPhone. So which I've got it on my iPhone here, but like I'm plugged into OBS here, and I was using the Riverside app.
Yeah.
Like because that's how we can talk to each other. I don't know if you can do it on OBS. If you can, I'd have to have somebody show me how. But anyway, so I'm sitting there in the truck, and I'm out there running my truck the whole time, burning $5.50 worth of diesel. Anyway, just because I didn't want to run my battery down, I had my light on. It was the only light I had. Yeah. The shop was locked, so I couldn't go in there. And if I went in the camper, I knew every Spencer was gonna be trying to show everybody every monster truck that he had. And Daddy, what's this? What's this one? Or what's this car? And I'd say 24 Jeff Gordon. Like we're going through all the NASCARs too now, so. I had to just sit out there in the truck and talk out there. And then for whatever reason, it kept saying that kept saying that my data was used up.
Yeah.
Like, but I was recording. Even Caden at the end, I saw after we got off,
Yeah. It showed that you were still on there.
Caden said you are live.
Yeah.
I thought it had kicked us out.
Mm.
I thought, well, I'll just finish the recording and post it. And she's like, "You are live, dummy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, I don't. My phone kept telling me storage
I
was
can't
low.
tell. I can't tell from my end either. It just
Yeah,
tells me like what percentage your Wi-Fi is or whatever.
yeah,
And that's all I could see. But you were like really jumpy and skippy and
yeah.
stuff like that. So
I was doing all I
we
could.
had great stories to tell. I just don't know how
did.
much of it came through.
I know, but yeah, I ended up. Oh, I blew another tire before it was over
Yeah.
with. Just so
But
you
you
know.
made it to Sevierville first. That was
Yeah.
your original location.
Right. I was
Or that was
trying
what
to
your
get
original landing spot was before you had to stop in Nashville. Then you
right.
made the rest of the way to Sevierville.
Yeah, yeah. We I blew out a second tire, couldn't get no help.
Mhm.
Finally just got Uncle Rodney, Superman shows up.
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. We get back to the hotel finally. I got up 3 hours later, changed all four
Yeah.
tires, and got back on the road to Sevierville, and we just hung out for the rest of the day on Monday. I wasn't supposed to be at Hitchcock until Tuesday, and then so I hadn't slept none up to this point, and we unloaded Hitchcock Tuesday morning, and they worked on the car pretty much all day, getting it all scaled and doing what they were doing with all the ride heights and trying to get everything right according to IHRA's rules. And so finally got all that squared away. I Wednesday they were kind of showing us like what we would do after the races. Like, this is basically our maintenance. So and actually half the maintenance hadn't been done since it had been raced last. So we went ahead and did everything we were supposed to do while we were there in case we had questions. So that was nice. But we got it all serviced and loaded it up Wednesday. Spencer was helping us load it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That video was really cute.
Yeah, it was. Spencer helps us load the car, and then we kind of screwed around Thursday, pretty much Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. We drove the track.
Did y'all stay at the Hedgecock
Mhm.
shop?
Yeah, man, that place is really neat. I didn't realize until last month. This is what's really weird, and I'll kind of get into this more, I guess. But Jay Hedgecock and Dale Senior used to be like this. They were good friends, and apparently they drove the same car a lot. They worked out of the shop right next door to where Jay is now.
So,
He showed us like the little building where they used to work on their stuff, and he's got photos of him and Senior on the wall of them sitting there talking to each other, and I mean, just a bunch of photos and stuff just everywhere, trophies, and it's really neat. It was really cool experience to get there, just hang out with them, talk with those guys, and Devin, good. He's now a good friend of mine. He races go karts. He was the one that he was making all the front clips, like the front bumpers and everything like that. We talked a lot. Him and Cameron both. Cameron is Jay's son, and Cameron also races go karts. He did race late models some, but he said, it's kind of weird to race against your competition or your customers,
right.
and it just kind of makes things weird. So he just decided he just race something different. So he races go karts. So there's a lot of go kart racers in there. But I mean, we just sat around and talked about racing a lot, and I watched them. They just showed us a lot about how to work on the cars and everything. So so it was fun staying there. I had a big dog. Bo, my dog, just passed away a couple weeks ago. Well, they had a Great Pyrenees Aussie breed, like a mix, and his name was Reacher. They named him Reacher because apparently Cameron loves that show, Reacher.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, but yeah, I had a good time there, and we drove 2.5 hours up north to Virginia and hung out pretty much the rest of the time, and then Friday practice started. So the whole thing, boy, it was a totally different experience than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Y'all had to so on Friday. Y'all had to go through the. Did y'all do pre-race tech on Friday?
Well,
or some sort of tech?
You had the option to go through tech and make sure everything was good if you wanted to do that. You didn't have to go through tech. I mean, it's kind of silly not to, in my opinion. Go ahead and make sure everything's good before, practice all day, and then you get through tech the next day and you're not right. So we went ahead, and so they had the American Racer truck there. All the trailers, all the tires are laid out and everything. I mean, it's just tons and tons of tires, and they're all stacked up, and they've each got a number on them. You draw a number, and that was the set you were gonna get. Well, it you could buy 3 sets. So since they were having practice on Friday, they said you can buy a set for practice today, you can buy a practice set for tomorrow, and the race set. Now, usually, like a regular race weekend, if they don't have practice on Friday, you're only allowed 2 sets.
Okay.
But since we were having practice on Friday, they said we'll let you buy a practice set today if you want to.
Right.
Well, we did not. We chose not to. I actually still had an old set of Hoosiers that I was just going to throw in the car and go out there and just make a bunch of laps with those and wear those out. So I went out on practice Friday and made probably 20, 30 laps on the Hoosiers, and then got kind of comfortable with the track, and then we stuck the American Racers on. And I went out and probably ran another 40 laps on those.
On Friday?
On Friday. Okay. This was all on Friday. And then Saturday morning comes rolling around, and they're saying there's a driver's meeting at 7:30.
Yeah, I saw the lineup for the day, and I was like, they got to be there at 7 a.m. They don't race till 7 or 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah,
like, that's go-kart flashbacks.
Yeah, I know. Already. Well, I mostly made that post just being funny because I was like, this is unheard of. Tim Horton, he's the race director. He commented on the post, well, it's the first one. We're not, we're only doing that just to get everybody together and explain things. Right. I'm like, I know, man. Like I'm just screwing around with everybody, So, but anyway, that's not how it's going to be moving forward. They just wanted to kind of give everybody like, hey, this is what our day is going to look like. This is what we're planning on doing. I was a little worried at first because people were asking them then like, well, what's restarts going to look like? Or, what, like what if the caution comes out on the white flag lap, is that it? Yeah. Or are we going to do a green, white, checkered? And they would mostly sit and kind of go, we'll talk about at the driver's meeting at 2:30 or 2 o'clock, whatever it was. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh no, I done got worried. And all weekend that I'd been there, man, they were talking about this is going to be a wreck fest. This is going to be a cluster. These guys they've never done this. They don't know what they're doing. And I was pretty nervous about what was going on. And plus, throwing the fact that I'd never drove these things, didn't know what the race was even going to be like. So now I'm really nervous because now I don't know what to expect. Yeah. I don't know what's coming, and I don't want to screw something silly up. And
if you watch the pro late model race before that, you would probably think that 37 cars is going to be a wreck fest because that thing was hard to watch. Yeah. They were crashing on the straightaway on restarts and things like that. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a tough one with 37 cars.
And I was about to say there was more than double.
Yeah,
in our class.
I think the pro class only had like 15 to 17 cars, and they ended up with like 6 finishing. I think.
I don't know how many finished.
And I thought 37 out here. Well, this is going to be awful.
Yeah,
but, I mean, like I said,
I'm telling you,
get into the whole race here in a minute, but
I'm telling you that was all I heard for even all week. Yeah. Like even Cameron and them were saying, man, this is going. Just watch yourself. This is going to be interesting. Yeah. That was just the word that they used. Like, just be on your toes because it's coming.
Yeah.
And I remember, so Jay ends up actually showing up to the race. He texts me. I guess he got my number from Cameron, and Jay Hedgecock texted me, which I thought, man, that's pretty cool. Jay Hedgecock's texting me, but he texts me and says, hey, I'm going to be a little late in the morning, but I'll be there about 8:30. And I didn't know him. Like, is he? I knew he had other cars there, and I thought, well, he's just coming to help everybody out and see how his cars are, and he'll be there to kind of check in on us if we need him. Man, no, that guy stayed in our pit. Now he would go and talk to others, and then he'd come back. But man, that man stuck with us the whole
That's cool.
day and was helping us with anything and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a smasher to change springs on our shocks,
Mm.
and he'd go to another trailer and say, "Hey, we want to change springs. Do you mind? Would it be okay?" And they'd let us. And so I mean, he got his hands dirty.
That's
He
cool.
probably hasn't worked that hard at a race, and I can't tell you when. But he sure was, man. He was a ton of help for us. And I hate Bo's not here. But yeah, and for the record, Bo, we're thinking about you and Bear. We got a text from Bo this morning. Bear was having a few issues. Nothing too serious that I know of as of now, but Bo had to go to the hospital tonight, so we're thinking about you and praying for you, buddy. But anyway, so I wish Bo could talk on it a little bit, but so Bo did come to the race. And I got a picture of Bo with a dolly pushing the tires around. I meant to post it and say, "Once a tire guy, always a tire guy." So I meant to post something. I hadn't done it yet. I'll post it later. But so Bo was there to be my spotter. Obviously, that was something we've talked about for a while. But Jay, after qualifying, he was talking to me. He said, "Hey, has that guy ever spotted before?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, it's his first time too." He said, "I'm gonna go find you a spotter." And Dad and I kind of looked at each other like, "Oh man, I don't really want to tell him. Like, I hope he
So I
doesn't."
know you came all the way to Virginia, but
Well, we told him, and he said, "Oh man, no, that's cool." Like, I don't know if he was relieved or what.
probably like,
Yeah, but yeah, he was like, "No, whatever helps us the most. Like, I'm all for it." I said, "Well, listen, I want you to still listen to what he's saying so
Yeah.
that you can learn." Because this guy may not be at these races. Like, I want you to learn
Yeah.
how he does it.
Did he go up there with him, or did he have like a radio he could
No,
listen
he
to?
had a radio and he just sat in the stands up there at the top.
Okay.
Well, I didn't find out till later. Jay didn't even know this guy, the
Oh.
spotter. He just found him
Mm.
and said he worked for GMS, like in the trucks or whatever. And he's like, that's the guy. And so anyway, so he agreed to spot for me. And so I've never met this guy, don't know who he is, anything, and I'm trusting him to tell me everything that's going on out here on the track. Which, by the way, was really weird. But anyway, so we crank up, and he says, "Brandon, you got a copy?" "Yes, sir." "You, Mr. John?" "Yes, that's me." He said, "What number are you again?"
Oh, that's good.
"Oh no." I said, "It's a bright green 84, Mr. John." He said, "Where are you starting? 12th?" "No, sir, 21st." He said, "Okay."
Opposite. Flip it around.
He said, "Okay, I got you." And so anyway, we pull out on the track, and I'm sitting there scuffing my tires, and I'm trying to get them warmed up and cleaned up. And man, it was everything I'd ever hoped for. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that watch this, a lot of dirt. There are a lot of dirt folks, been dirt fans all their lives, and they just wish that they could drive sprint cars and just think that's the coolest thing ever. But man, this
And it
was
is.
for you. But like I'm telling you, for me, like this was mine. This was
I know.
like
Yeah, I know.
this was something that I have
Yeah.
always wanted to do, and to hear a spotter like I've always heard on TV,
I was gonna say,
just talking to me
I was
like
gonna
that.
ask you, like, did he like when y'all were lining up? Did he say give you any like? So this is what I'm gonna say for this, like lingo. Did he, or he was just
No,
started saying it, and you
not
just
really.
had to, or was it just like inside outside, or
We
closing
didn't.
in on you? Stelly's about to spin you out.
No, no. Like we had no time
Yeah.
to really even talk. Like I said, when I turned that car on and I turned that radio on,
Yeah.
that was the first time I heard this
Okay.
man
I didn't know
speak.
if under caution he maybe told you like, hey, this is something I might say.
He
I might do something like
his
this.
name's John Turner. So shout out to John if he's listening. Awesome guy. Real nice guy. But no, like I mean, yeah, before we took he might have said a few things, but like I had no real heads up. So, but we took the green, man, and I mean, he's giving me all this information. And something I said last week that I was worried about is like, I hope I can listen to what he's saying, retain it, and still, you know, do my thing and not be distracted
Yeah.
by it. Like I didn't know how I would do receiving information as I'm racing, you know, because I'm, you know, I'm always so locked into what I'm doing that I'm thinking, you know, might be a distraction. So I was worried about that. Turns out that
I
wasn't
understand that
true.
because we've been to some tracks like with Pete, and they will come on the radio when a car is about to get lapped, and they'll be like, 13, go to the bottom. The leaders are coming. Well, when we go out there, they do the same thing, and you're racing. You're like, what is happening? What is happening?
Well,
Well,
you know,
who's talking in my ear?
but you
Yeah.
know, you're not supposed to hear
Right,
anything.
right, right.
You
Yeah, I'm
know,
saying, but still, like you said, you're not used to it. So are you going to
yeah,
be listening and processing and all that at the same time? 'Cause
yeah,
I know I've been riding around under caution. You know, I drive different cars and stuff. We are under caution, and I hear them talking, but I'm just like, I'm good. They're like, 8X, do this. I'm like, oh, I'm in the 8X tonight. I wasn't listening. So yeah, that's
yeah.
me. That's
You
me.
forgot which car you were
Yeah,
in.
that's me. That's me.
55 4.
Yeah.
What am I doing? What am I doing?
So sometimes I just like tune out, and I can hear the noise, but I don't focus in on what's being said.
Well,
You know.
that's what I was worried about. But no, man, like, and I'll tell you what I really loved about this guy was he was a freaking cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty funny. Like, so I Jay and Cameron and a lot of people been saying during the week. Mike Looney's a real nice guy. He was driving the '87 car, and a lot of those guys was giving me tips on this place, and they kept saying, you know, don't be afraid to go down there on that apron. Like, you know, put 2 on the apron, it'll wedge the car, it'll help it turn better, and all this stuff. Well, we start the race, and we get going. Like I said, I started 21st, and I don't know, I these guys in front of me, but they slow up a lot, and then they kind of get going, and I'm thinking, man, I can pass these guys. Like, so we go into turn one, probably lap 3 or 4, I don't know. We get slowed down, and I just point, and I went straight across the apron,
Yeah.
like it wasn't there. I mean, all 4 on the apron. Most guys was putting barely 2 over the white line. I turned that car, went straight across the apron, like I was hitting the moisture at a dirt track.
Yeah.
Drove across, and I passed 2 people like that.
Certainly a disaster.
Yeah, and John just kind of went, that was awesome. Like, keep doing that. And anyway, but he just got, yeah, let's go get another one. And then he would say, and this was something I picked up on. It took me a second to realize what he was saying, but he was saying, 42 chasing a 60. Come on, let's go. Well, what he was saying was I was running a 1642, and the guy in front of me was running a 1660, saying, you're 2 tenths faster. Go get him.
Oh, okay.
So he kept doing that, and he was like dangling the carrot, saying, "Go get him! You're faster! You're faster!" And anyway, so I made it up to 16th, and I just want to say, like, this is way harder than it looks. Like, I know I went back and watched the broadcast, and I'm sitting there watching my own car.
They showed you one time, like, get a little assy coming out of 3 and 4. I think it was. You kind of got up and it started.
Yeah,
that was probably pretty deep into the race too. So
it was.
I was starting to wonder. I was like, he burned that right rear off.
No, it was I think I know it was probably about lap 50 or so.
Yeah,
It was almost midway.
Yeah.
Seemed like. Well, about midway, I was starting to struggle pretty bad. So it turns like we weren't really losing a lot of time. Like tires weren't really wearing just a ton. That American Racers is as hard as this concrete, and it really wasn't wearing. But my brake pedal was getting a little soft.
Yeah, one time you could see, I believe there's the left front was glowing really good at one point in time during that race.
Yeah, my brake pedal was getting a little bit soft.
They talked about this. I'm not sorry, not trying
No,
to
you're
cut you
good.
off, but the guy, was his name Studley?
Kyle Dudley.
Kyle Dudley. They talked about, they were like, look at Dudley's car, and all of his rotors were not glowing.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can see the ones who are struggling a little bit, their rotors are starting to glow a lot. So
yeah,
I saw yours glow, and I was like, well, then it's not great right now. Yeah.
Well, like, so Jay, like, in practice, back up a little. Jay in practice would go down to a corner, and he would tell me, like, get down right there, get back to the throttle here, and like he's sitting there giving me pointers. Y'all, I did not realize how technical this crap really is. Like, it is.
Especially
so
if you got hard tires on. I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna be slipping.
It is so freaking technical. I moved down maybe a tire width going into the corner and gained 2/10. You know, it to me, how he had me going in, it just looked like, man, I'm cutting the corner way too hard. Like to me, I need to arc it more. You know,
That's what we would have to do.
that's yeah. So I'm sitting there trying to arc this thing and hit the middle just perfectly right. Man, no, he'd have me go in
right at it.
yeah, he wanted me to drive right at it, and just it was almost like, and the only thing I compare it to, it was like hitting moisture in a sprint car. I'd go down there and I'd hit this groove going into the corner on the bottom early, what I would consider early, and that car would just loop right on around and just turn, and it just it irritate kind of irritated me to the fact because I was like, man, that just does not make sense, but it works. So I just started doing it. So like I would get faster when he would tell me stuff like that. And then, you know, he'd say, "Hey, you're coming off the bottom too soon on exit. Hold it down a little longer." You know, so he just gave me tips. Well, then I went out for qualifying, and I kind of done the same thing. And he was like, when I come in, he's like, "Should have got to gas a little sooner." And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Qualifying, you just hammer it on through the center off." He said, "You just drive that thing, you know, whatever." He's like, "It's okay. It's fine." So it's just little things like that I don't, you know, I don't know. But no, he did a great job teaching me all he could and working what we had. He, you know, he wasn't there for Friday practice, and he was really wishing we had got another practice set to go out and practice qualifying.
Oh, qualifying. Y'all just did race runs.
Yeah, we just did race runs, and I just went out there and was just trying to get in a rhythm and everything like that. Well, he wanted to work with us on like qualifying, which turns out like if we qualify a little better, you know, we wouldn't have been back there in the traffic, and maybe could have worked on the race setup a little. Probably could have got the race set up better. That was something else he said. He's like, he knew I was too loose halfway through that race. He's like, yeah, he's way too loose, and I was, and I could get in fine, but man, when I would try to get back in the throttle, right at the center of the corner, I'd try to roll back in it, and I mean, it was like being on ice. It just it was not happy, and so anyway, I just honestly from like lap 60, 65 on, I was just trying to hang on to it. So then this whole time, you know, like they were talking about this is going to be a wreck fest and everything. We went 84 laps without a caution. And even still, after the fact, like one guy I think wrecked on his own, but I think something broke. That 17 car.
Smashed the wall.
I could be wrong.
I think his tire went down.
Could be.
He smashed the right front corner. Like went down and he just went up and smacked the wall.
I don't remember what happened to him, but I think he was like the only car that actually got real damage from an incident. But I mean, everything else was, I mean, so I guess we'll talk about this.
The second caution of the night.
Was it the second or the third?
I think it was the second.
I thought it was the third.
No, because that dude hit the wall, and then they restarted and made about 3 or 4 laps. And
19 car, which actually ended up, that was the car that Jeremy Mayfield was working on, AJ something, but I don't remember what happened. I think he got into it with somebody else, and then
they had 2 pretty close together, and then y'all ran a whole bunch of laps.
Yeah, and then so I'm 1 lap down, and I don't know where I was. I wish I could go back and figure out where I was. I had been as high as 16th.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
I had been as high as 16th, and I may have lost a spot or two. I want to say I was maybe 18th or 19th. I don't know.
I'll let you know how I know in just a minute. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, Kyle gets to me, and we were told in a driver's meeting, and I'm listening to my spotter, okay, and we were told, hold the bottom, leaders go around the outside of you. I'm like, okay. Well, John kept saying for about 3 or 4 laps, one behind, leaders one behind, leaders one behind. Okay, well he's gonna pass me on the outside, and mind you, I haven't looked in my mirror probably 3 or 4 times this whole race. I mean, he's painting such a good picture that I don't even have to look.
Right.
And so he just keeps telling me, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Like I'm telling you, this dude was a cheerleader. And then I go into turn 3, and I thought I overdrove it. And car loops around, and I stayed in the gas.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not hitting this wall, and I just stayed in the gas, looped it around, and I watching the replay. I about got smoked in the right rear quarter panel. Well, turns out Kyle the leader had gotten into me, and so he told me, he said leader got underneath you and spun you out, and I was like, oh. I said, well, was that my fault? Like, did I do something wrong? He said, no, you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, it looked to me like he thought you were gonna, because you kind of maybe left it out a little higher, and he just like fully committed in there.
Yeah.
He just dove off trying to get underneath you, and you
Yeah.
kind of was coming down already, and he looked like you were going to open it up, and he just kind of just dove it down in there.
Yeah.
And got it at the quarter panel.
Well, I kept doing the same thing I'd been doing every lap, and I just knew, like, this guy's behind me. He'll pass me on the outside. He's definitely fast enough.
Yeah.
He'll just get me. And so that's what I kept waiting for. So then when I looped it, and I'm like, oh man, was that my fault?
Yeah.
He's like, no, he got down there on the apron. He did not get down on the apron. And he's like, he got on the apron and got you. And I'm like, oh, well, all right, whatever. And he said 9 laps to go, and I'm like, well, my tires are really freaking hot now,
Yeah,
and
smoked them up.
I'm like, I done got them pretty hot now, and I got to go to the rear. I'm like, I'm just gonna coast to the end here. I'm probably not gonna get anybody now that I've hurt myself. So that's what happened. I just kind of rode and like, don't spin this thing out, just get it home, and got it home 9 laps later, finished 22nd. I had actually, so when the cautions kind of started happening, I never noticed that I was having trouble with my cooling, like in my helmet. And man, we started having them cautions, and it was getting pretty hot in that car, going so slow, and the fumes was getting to me.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't have any air coming in there, and so actually when I got out, I was ready to get out, and I was really dizzy. I could tell, like,
probably
I'd been
close to carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, I think I had it, honestly. Like, I was pretty sick to my stomach and real dizzy. And Dad asked me, he said, "Do you feel like you're drunk?" I said, "Uh-huh." He said, "Yeah, that's carbon monoxide poisoning." And so I just sat out there in front of the truck for a while with some water and just trying to breathe some fresh air. And anyway, I finally got to feeling better about 45 minutes later. But yeah, so that was my night. How did you? So go. I want to. How did
first,
you know
I
what?
thought it was kind of fitting, not funny that you got spun out, but who spun you out? What was his name? Kevin Dudley?
Kyle Dudley.
Kyle Dudley. Well,
you talking about the fact that this is the guy you told me to beat?
Yeah. So there. I was watching the IHRA stock car page leading up to the race, so they put this guy on. Kevin, was it
Dudley?
Kyle Dudley, Kevin Dudley.
Kyle Dudley.
Well, he has this uniform that's supposed to look like a tuxedo, but it's very badly done. And if your uniform is like if it's a weird uniform or if it's very badly done, I do not like that at all. So I sent this to Brandon. I said, just please beat this guy. I just didn't know that he was like the most badass guy there. He was the fastest car at the racetrack that day. And he's the one that ended up spinning out Brandon. So he got his revenge for me hating his uniform.
So
I thought that was just
it would have been funnier if you'd have put it on social media.
Honestly, I didn't know it was him until he climbed out in victory lane. I was like, oh, damn. That was the guy I needed him to beat. I didn't know it was going to be the fastest car of the day.
Yeah. Oh, man. He apparently that's his home track. Like, I don't know if he grew up there. I'm not real sure. I don't, like I said before, like last week, I don't know any of these people. Like, none of them. I knew of Cade Brown from like doing some truck stuff, but
I knew of.
I didn't know a soul. I didn't know who come from where.
I figured I would know some more guys, like maybe like an Avedisian would be there or something like that. But I mean, I did know the guy that won the pro mods. What's the other class called?
Pro Late Models.
Yeah. I knew him because he raced for Keith Coons.
He did?
Car. Yeah, he run midgets.
Really?
For Keith Coons.
When was that?
He ran last year. I think he might even run Chili Bowl for him because he got out and he had KKM. I was like, oh, that's the midget, the guy that runs midgets for Keith Coons.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's the one that won the pro late model deal. So I knew that guy, but other than that, I figured I would know least a couple more.
I'm not gonna lie, I was too busy sitting there next to my car biting my fingernails, thinking, "Man, I hope I miss every wreck they throw at us."
Looking
Like,
at 20 cars up there,
yeah,
just
I'm sitting there thinking, "Man,"
ready to throw it down. Well,
because
yeah,
even the officials were going, "Man, this is the most money a lot of these guys have ever seen," and I'm
yeah,
thinking, "Oh God, like,
yeah.
I'm
I know
ready to pull."
that's the thing. Like, if you guys don't know, it paid 4,000 to start, and if you got to like 15th, it was 5,000.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can't
it was
remember.
15th or 16th, it was up to 5,000. So like, just passing a couple cars from 20th would get you into a higher money bracket. So everybody's going to be racing hard to try to
Yeah,
make that money. But yeah, I mean, I thought you did a really good job for never running on asphalt, and they did a good job. Okay, so I saw you also posted about the broadcast being really great,
mhm.
and I absolutely hated the
Really?
broadcast.
Why?
Yes, it was terrible.
Really?
So the only good thing I liked about it is they did know about you. They said like all your sprint car stats. They knew you'd race sprint cars and you'd won ASCS regional
They
championship,
made
and
me sound better than I was,
you
but
won the flip flop race. They knew about that, and you'd won a national show, and they knew all your sprint car stuff. So I liked that they were knowledgeable about you. They just didn't like, well, who is this '84 Brandon Hanks guy? You know, from
yeah,
Tennessee. So they did know that stuff. But as far as the broadcast, like I was really disappointed because I saw Ralph Shaheen was on there,
yeah.
and like Ralph Shaheen has one of the greatest calls of all time, the 1998 Knoxville Nationals. If you've
Yeah.
never heard the ending of that race, like it's a great
The one
call. But
Lastowski one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so like he's awesome. And
Mm.
so I really was thought, okay, this would be pretty good. But like I don't know, they were just pretty monotone the whole
Yeah,
time,
they didn't
which
have a lot of energy.
like there was just kind of monotone. I understand the leader
When
was checking out. It's kind of different. It's 125 laps and
Yeah,
stuff, but
yeah.
like oh, Brandon Haynes gets like give me something when that
Yeah,
happens,
yeah, yeah.
and
No,
but
I get that. I know what you're
but
saying.
then over the broadcast overall, I hated the broadcast because like I was telling you, so like when you qualified, you made your qualifying laps. Well, they just told your time. They didn't say where you slotted. They didn't say Brandon Hanks. I think you were 17th at the time.
Maybe.
They didn't say Brandon Hanks was the 17th. So we had no idea where you qualified. Well, we did, but you had to wait 20 minutes for the ticker to slowly creep by
Yeah.
to see it. And I was like, well, what the hell? Like, because you know, the Outlaws line it up and it like live moves
Yeah.
it up and down.
Right, right.
And so during the race, we're watching it, and 20 minutes later, oh, he's up to 18. 20 minutes later, he's up to 17. 20
Yeah.
minutes later, he's up to 16. I'm like, oh, damn. I was like, he's moving forward.
Yeah.
And so then it gets to a point where at first they're showing all 37 cars on the ticker.
And then they were just
And then they
showing
dropped it to like
17.
17.
Yeah.
And so once you fell back, we had no idea. I text your mom. I was like, is he still even on the racetrack? We had no idea.
Yeah.
Because the ticker cut it off at 17. I was like, what the hell is this? Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on past 17th, you know?
Yeah.
And so that really annoyed me. Like that ticker situation, I think was my biggest pet peeve of it all is
Yeah.
it took forever to find out who was where and who had passed and all those things. Like that could be a huge improvement
Right.
to their broadcast. And I mean, some of their camera angles were pretty nice, but then sometimes there was some shaky camera work going on. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not even over exaggerating. Like it wasn't awful, but I just hated the ticker.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I just expected Ralph Shaheen to be a little more energized
Yeah.
when he was on there
Yeah.
than what he was. And so,
No, I see what you're saying. I just mean when I'm talking about the broadcast, I'm thinking, man, like I thought the camera angles was pretty
yeah,
good,
they had some
and
good ones.
and the ticker kind of annoyed me, and I know what you're saying about the energy.
Yeah.
I get that, but I'm just saying like overall, like the visuals, you
Yeah, they
saw
did.
everything, and they did a lot better than Fox Sports usually
Yeah,
does.
they did do like interviews of people that had crashed and things like that. Like they would split the screen and they would interview the guy that pulled off or ask him what happened.
Yeah.
And so you got some of that information. You know, but there's some things they could definitely clean up, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's first race and
Yeah.
things like that. But then
And
they had a awesome. I don't know if you got to see it, but if you watched the whole race, you did. But the drone almost landed on top of you one
Yeah.
time. It was
Yeah.
he come down like right above your windshield.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a close call.
Yeah, so I got a story about that, but yeah, I went back and because I was watching, well, the pro late models before us, obviously, dude, that thing was freaking fast.
Mhm.
Okay, I sat there and watched it
Mhm.
going above them cars and chasing
Yeah.
them cars in that first race, and I was like, wow,
Yeah, they had one at
that-
North Alabama a couple weeks ago. You could
Yeah.
see it sitting up in the corner, like
Yeah.
little blue lights, and then we would come down and it would like fly down
yeah.
close to us and stuff like
This
that.
this cat, man, I don't know who was driving that thing, but man, he was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
slick.
Yeah,
But
Perky said the same thing the ticker was awful.
Yeah.
He said the same thing. Kept it at 17.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
that
I
was.
don't know why.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
why it
why.
changed mid race to
Right.
started cutting out at 17 because that was very annoying.
Yeah, I don't know why they I don't know why they done it that way. But I agree with you, but like I'm going off of the fact that this was the first one.
Yeah.
And I know that they can clean all that up, and I know that they'll get that feedback, whether it's from here or wherever. Like they'll get feedback and they'll make it better. Uh, I'm just saying for a first
Oh
time,
yeah, I mean it
I
wasn't
think they
terrible.
did awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll say like the officials, like everything went, I think, fairly smoothly. Like I know what I said about like they were kind of looking at each other like, whoa, they didn't have an answer as to what they were gonna do in the morning, but they had all got together, and by the time the drivers meeting come around later that after the real drivers meeting had come around, they knew what they were gonna do, and they told us what they were gonna do, and I mean, I don't know if maybe they just put it in everybody's heads, but in the meeting they were just like, do not wreck these race cars. Like we are trying to pay y'all as much as
Yeah.
possible. We are trying to save y'all as much money as we
Yeah.
can. Like they just kept beating our head. Do not go out here and act a fool and wreck these race cars. Like you're gonna go home with a
Yeah.
great payday, whether you crank the car and pull in or win this thing. So they're like, do not go out here and act stupid. We will pull you off of it. Basically, is what I mean. They were
Yeah, I mean,
they were pretty adamant
that
about
is
all that.
one thing I do like about it is, most of the races you can only get 2 sets of tires. And you told me the sets were $800 a piece, so
Yeah,
basically your tire bill is going to be 1,600 when you go. But if you start the race, you get $4,000.
yeah,
If you pass a couple cars, you get 15th. Some of these races you go to, there might only be 20 cars show up, so you
yeah,
got a good shot at $5,000 to $7,000
yeah.
when you leave.
Well, it won't be 4,000 the rest of the time.
Oh, does it go back down to
It
2,000?
it goes back to 2.
I thought you had told me it was 2,000 originally, but
Yeah,
then
it
I saw
was.
that.
It goes back to 2 all the rest of the shows except for the last. I think the last one it's the same pay as this one was.
Oh, okay,
I think it's just the first and last shows that do this
I
one.
got you.
So it'll be basically everything will be halved
Hmm.
for the rest of them. But I mean, even still,
That's
even
good.
still, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
But no, I thought everything went good. I really can't find just a bunch of things to complain about. I ain't gonna lie, if we're gonna be there for 2 days, I about just soon qualify and practice the night before, and
Yeah,
then
or
just
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 race
race the next day. If we're gonna be there 2 days,
Yeah.
I say just split it.
Hmm.
Wouldn't hurt my feelings any.
Let us get there at 2 and
Yeah,
tinker around till 6 or 7 or
yeah,
whatever.
well, like we could practice the night before about like the race conditions might be.
Hmm.
We could kind of get a better idea that
Yeah.
way. And I don't know. That was a long day.
Oh, yeah.
I,
That's what I saw. It was 7 a.m. That's what I said. It takes me back to the go kart days.
yeah,
You'd practice 6 rounds and race, and then your main event wouldn't be till 11 o'clock that night.
yeah,
It was a long day.
yeah. It really was a long day, but I'm assuming that's probably pretty normal
Yeah.
in that world. But I didn't mind it. I think what made it worse was the fact that I'd been gone all week long,
Yeah,
and
that definitely doesn't help.
yeah, it didn't help us none. And Spencer, I don't know if Spencer like had a nightmare or something, but he woke me up about 10 minutes to 4, so and I couldn't go back to sleep. So we're in the camper, and he wakes me up. He goes right back to sleep,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there.
It's good to go.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, and now I'm thinking about the day, and I'm sitting there, eyes closed, laying on my pillow, and I'm sitting there making laps in my head about, all right, what should I do, or how should I do this? So I'm sitting there thinking about everything that Jay and I have talked about and all this stuff. So I couldn't shut my brain off. So it was a extremely long day for me. But I did you see the hate I got today on Facebook?
Uh-uh.
So shout out to I can't say this with a straight face. D's Lugnuts
I
podcast.
saw the interview, yeah, but I didn't read any of the comments.
No, it wasn't the comments on that one. I got some hate because so they posted. They were apparently it's 2 guys. They go to different races throughout the weekends, whatever. And Jody's one of them. I don't know who the other guy was. I talked to Jody. He's the one that interviewed me. Real nice guy. And we talked for a little while, and he went on about his way. Well, I saw after the race, after I done got back to the camper and just kind of calming down, getting ready to go to bed. I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw that they had posted, Brandon Hanks spins with 9 to go. I just got on there and I commented. I said, "Well, I did get a little help with a laughing face. I just being silly, Like I said, I wasn't even mad about that.
Yeah.
Like he's a leader, he's got to go, and I don't know. I think it could have been avoided. Like what I didn't mention about that was his spotter was standing next to mine. So all he had to do, in my opinion, I think it was a lack of communication. I think all he had to do was, "Hey John, can you tell him to please move?"
Yeah.
Like if John had said, "Hey, leader's behind you," he's asking, "Can you pull over and let him go?" If he'd have said that, I'd just been, "Well, okay, sure. Where does he want me?" Like I would have just let him go. But when John's saying one back, one back, one back,
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, right? So I don't know. I did everything that man asked me to do. Because I knew he could see more than I could. He's obviously seen more of these races than I have, so I'm gonna listen to him. But anyway, I just being funny. Well, I got chewed out.
You got the brain Taylor
I
treatment.
sure did. I got
it all comes full
it
circle.
did.
It all comes
I
full
got
circle.
chewed out, and I was just like, dang, like I wasn't trying to be in his way. Like I didn't know.
So you got to be careful where you throw stones.
I know.
all come full circle.
I know. But like I said, all somebody had to do was say, "Hey, can you please just move?" I'd have been like, "Okay, all right, fine, whatever." But I mean, yeah, I knew he was clearly faster, but I wasn't moving because in our world, or my old world, you just keep doing what you're doing, and they'll find a way around you. I mean, that's what I've always known, and that's basically what they told us in the meeting. So like I just did everything I was supposed to do. And I think he was plenty fast enough to go around, but it didn't work out that way. Like I said, he still won the race. I didn't get any damage. I mean, I got one little brace broke. I mean, in the left rear quarter panel, but like I wasn't mad at all. Like it didn't cost me anything. I just, like I said, as soon as I got going and I asked him, well, was I in the wrong? Like, I'm well aware of the situation. Like I said, I was just being goofy, but buddy, they got on me.
Well, at least they'll remember your name now.
I'm about to say, hey, they're talking about me. They're talking about me. I don't care. But I know we went a little long on that, but that was my weekend.
Finish these last 20 minutes out with sprint car stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to the real stuff. We'll get to the real stuff. We got High Limit Arizona.
3 days.
3 days worth of Arizona racing for High Limit. The greatest show on dirt.
No.
You don't think so?
Proof of that is
why not?
Right now Tanner Thorson is the hottest driver and High Limit. He ain't beating David Gravel. He ain't beating Buddy Kofoid.
So
he ain't beating Carson Macedo.
I heard an interesting take today. So, and I'd be curious to know, like, any people that are watching, like, leave in the comments, even if you're not watching live, like, leave in the comments, like, what do you think's better? So, like, you got Gravel, or you got like just a very few people that are over here winning with the Outlaws consistently, and then at High Limit, you got 6 races and 6 different winners. So, like, which one's more entertaining? Like, it's clear that Gravel more than likely is going to take on the High Limit guys and could win. But as far as entertainment goes, you got all these different folks, all these different teams that are capable of winning any given night at a High Limit show.
That's all cool, but I just like to see the best ones. Like, I mean, High Limit's got really good drivers. I'm not saying that, but if you had to make me choose, if they're the same track 5 minutes apart, where am I going? I'm going to an Outlaw show. I want to see Gravel. I want to see Kofoid, Macedo, Shots, Hodenshield. Like, I want to see all those guys. So if they're 5 minutes apart, that's where I'm going. Some people just blindly hate the Outlaws because Kyle Larson is part of High Limit. Let's be real.
Dang right.
And so, I think if they were true to themselves, if they were 5 minutes apart, they're going to go see the World of Outlaws as well. Because, like, Gravel's just now getting his stuff together and starting to roll. He didn't have a great Volusia or anything like that.
Yeah.
But also, Buddy Kofoid's had awful luck.
Man, yeah.
He's even at Lawton, he was on the front row of the heat race and mag box or something went out on it.
Yeah.
So then he has to go to the B main again.
And then the
so,
night we were sitting in here doing the podcast, watching Volusia, he
yeah,
broke.
And so now he's almost 100 points out. And so my prediction of Kofoid and Gravel battling out is pretty much done.
Can you remember? Because Chaz talked about this. What's the furthest back anybody's ever come from in the points win championship?
If you get down 100 points, they say there's no way of coming back.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
But Gravel's so consistent. Like he's going to qualify up front, so he's going to be in every dash. He's going to be up front in the feature. So how are you making that up? Like he has to have a bad night. That never happens.
Right.
And even still with the Outlaws, they still have their 2-minute time rule, so you can pretty much almost fix your car and go out and ride around and still make points up. And then Macedo, he had a bad stretch in Oklahoma, so now he's back like
58 points.
I don't see him making that up either. It's just Gravel's too good. Like if I think you had to stay within like the 20-point range to have a shot at it. Once you fall outside of that, like he's just too damn good to make any of that stuff up. Where, to your point, high limit, Thorson has like a 24-point lead, which I still think you have one bad night. You can affect you. You can fall back to fourth in the championship because it is closer championship wise right now through their first 4 or 5 races than what the Outlaws are. But a lot of that is just David Gravel is just that good, where it's hard to make up any points on him unless he has a bad night, which he had one at Talladega. But then the guys couldn't capitalize that needed to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
On that same night.
So as a fan, you're doing that, but as a driver, what are you doing?
I still want to go to the Outlaws.
That's because you're like,
I just grew up with the Outlaws. Yeah. Like that's what I always wanted to race with, the Outlaws.
See, I'm going where I have the best chance.
Wow, man, I just want to run outlaw races. I mean, if High Limit was close by, yeah, I'm going to go run it. But like I said, if they're 5 minutes down the road,
yeah, so they're 5 minutes apart. You're racing. You've got a good chance to win.
I'm still going to the Outlaws.
Yeah, why though?
I mean, I don't think I would have a good chance to win.
No. That's not what I'm asking. I'm saying you've got a good team. Like you've got you've got a competitive car. May not be Gravel competitive, but you've got a competitive car.
I still want to go beat David Gravel. That's just like if Joe B. Miller comes to Farmington, I want to beat Joe B. Miller. I don't want to be like, dang it, Joe B's here tonight. Like I want him to come, and then I want to go beat him at Farmington. I want to take on the best guy that comes there and try to beat him.
I got you.
It's just like we go to West Memphis. Like I don't always. Oh man, Derek's here tonight. Like I want to go try to beat Derek. Like I want to beat the best guys that are out there. So that's why I would want to go try to take down Gravel or Macedo or those guys.
I don't know. I could look at it. I look at it the way too is like, well, High Limit's got 7 or 8 guys that are super tough to beat. I could take down all 8.
My thing about that is though, is they all race against each other. It's like if you had one big series like these High Limit guys, how many of them are going to be inside the top 5 in points? Who's going to be in front of Sheldon, Donnie, Macedo, Gravel?
I don't know. I mean, I really honestly feel like Gravel's the only one that sticks out that could beat them all, in my opinion. You don't think Rico? You don't think
Rico? Like I've said it before. Like Rico's good. There's no doubt about it. But the only reason why he won that championship last year is because the top 3 guys fell out at Eldora. He was 4th in points at that time.
Yeah.
They all 3 went out at the same time. So then he inherited. Well, he didn't inherit it. They were out a couple races, and he ended up taking the points lead. And then just kind of held on at the end. Like I think it still came down to the last race.
Do you remember how far behind he was?
I don't remember. No,
you don't remember that?
No, I know he was.
I don't remember.
I know he was probably 70 or so points out because those guys still got like show up points, even if they didn't race. They got like a medical points. They used your average finish to like put you in and still give you points. So they didn't get 0 points. They still got a little something. But like, yeah, and he looked all right in these first couple races. Yeah, he got the win, but Brad Sweet was probably going to win that race before he broke and fell out, so.
That's right.
It's like Brad Sweet goes right out there and he's one of the fastest High Limit cars right off the bat, which I mean, he's good. Maybe he would be that same with Outlaws. It's just, I don't know. And I looked through there, like I think Reitzel maybe could get in there, and I don't doubt Rico couldn't either. It's just, I don't know. When I just see the top 5 in Outlaw points, I'm just like,
do you know of any point that maybe they're gonna all run the same race anytime soon? I don't know the schedule.
Yeah, they got well, I don't know how many of them will be there, but they have in Knoxville, they have 2 day show April 24th and 25th. I know Rico's going to be there. Reitzel will be there. Thorson will probably be there because he's been talking about wanting to be fast at Knoxville. So they'll probably go get some tests. So there'll be a lot of the high limit guys cross over at that show, which is probably about a month away now.
So we've got a month before we could even see that. I was fixing to try to pull up the schedule. You said Knoxville?
Yeah, I think it's April. I think it's April 24th.
Is it an outlaw show or is it just a?
It's outlaw show.
It is an outlaw show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they go. I think they go like Peevely. Then maybe it's the next weekend they go to Knoxville. But it's somewhere in April they go to Knoxville. That'll be their. I think that'll be the first time you'll see a lot of them together outside of Volusia.
Let's see.
Here in a couple weeks.
I'm trying to find it right now.
But I mean, there's no doubt. Like, I don't put down anything Thorson has accomplished because what he started with to where he is now, like they've definitely like I respect the hell out of what he's built on that deal. Like that's something you would dream about is building your team up from the ground up and then having it compete at a national level and being competitive and winning races. And so yeah, I definitely don't discount what he's done. It's just I just don't know if he could run the top 3 with Outlaws week in and week out.
Let's see. I don't know why it's giving me like when I'm looking at the Outlaw Airs schedule, it kept trying to give me recaps. I was wanting to look at the whole darn schedule. April. Got Peevely April 11th.
11th.
And then Jacksonville. That'd be a good weekend.
Yeah, then it's
Knoxville, April 24th. Yeah. So you're right. April 24th, April 25th.
Yeah, that'll probably be the first time you see a lot of them together because High Limit's not racing that weekend. Their last weekend is, I believe, this coming up weekend, and then they might be racing. I can't remember what their schedule is.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'd have to pull them up side by side. But either way, I hope we have some opportunity to see them race each other. Now, I agree. I'm on the train of gravel is probably the best overall, but you throw more competitive guys like that in the mix, it makes it a lot more difficult. He might not have the heat race he could have had they not been there, or the dash he could have had they not been there. You know what I mean? Like you throw a number of you throw 8-10 more really competitive cars in there with a good qualifying run or whatever kind of get in the way. Maybe he doesn't have as quite a good of a night.
I say either way, either series, if you qualify good, you have an advantage. I mean, Outlaws, you start on the front row, and the High Limit, you start 4th if you're a quick time, and all you got to do is transfer. You ain't got to run top 2, or you just got to transfer through. Mm-hmm. So I mean, either way, if you qualify good, you have an advantage. And even if you're the second fastest car, you start on the pole of that heat race, and so you got to go win the heat race to get into the dash. So, I mean, both series have their benefit. I'm looking here though. Tuesday, April 21st, they're at Eagle Raceway, so they'll be in Nebraska.
Is that the High Limit schedule?
Yeah.
What'd you say that was?
Which one?
That date. What'd you say that was?
April 21st. They'll be in Eagle, so they'll be in Nebraska. So they'll probably a lot of them guys will be up there. It's probably 4 or 5 hours from Knoxville, so they'll all be up there in the area during that time. You'll probably see a lot of them cross over.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, it's giving me. No wonder this is kind of confusing. I just saw 2 April 24th dates. That's the late models.
Yeah.
They're going to be at Talladega. I'm like, how in the world are they going to be in Knoxville on the 24th and then the 25th they're at Talladega? I was like, how is that possible? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it wrong.
I mean, there's no doubt. Like Sprint Cup, both series are entertaining. Like I don't take that away from either one of them. It's like all the races at that Arizona track were really good.
Yeah,
they were really good races, and the Outlaws, they weren't that great. But I mean, I liked Creek County, but I love Creek County. Like that was a good show. But
that was a way better race than I thought it would be. Yeah, I'll be honest. I really didn't expect it to be quite as good as it was.
I thought it'd be pretty good. Like they got that thing dialed in pretty good now, and
it's just such a narrow place, but it got pretty wide in the features. So like it surprised me like how good the race actually got.
And, like Lawton, they didn't do a great job with track management there, but I mean it is what it is. They didn't get to run that place at all last year because of a fire, but I mean every race at Arizona, like I said, what Tanner Thorson's done is like incredible.
Yeah.
You know, if the first year he did it, everybody was like, "Why is this guy even going out there? Like, this is stupid." But I thought he was going to be good because I remember him racing in California in a wing car, and he was always pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, and he's doing something totally different. You know, he's on the coilovers,
Mm-hmm.
and he did that interview with the Chaz, and he was talking about how they do. He's like, people can't replicate what I'm doing on these coilovers. He said most of them guys are putting on 96s and running 11 inches of stagger. He said, I got 92s on and I'm running 16 inches of stagger. And I was like, well, sign me up for a coilover.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley right there. It's like, give me some of that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought that was cool that, you know, they're doing something totally different. And, but I mean, I'm telling you, he keeps running up front, leading points, winning races. Everybody, people are going to start going to coilovers. You'll see a lot more of it start to transition. Now people will try it.
Kind of like Donnie when he trying to run like 2 shocks on the right rear or something like that. Do you remember that when he done
I
that?
don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
It seemed like it's been several years ago. That was back when he was like dominating.
Yeah.
And he had like 2 shocks on the right rear, but heard somebody say not long after that said it was just a dummy shock. It was just really for looks. He just wanted people to get him looking or something. I don't know how true that was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember none of that.
Maybe he was just messing around. Maybe they were just screwing people's heads.
So I was looking here. Eagle Raceway is 3 hours from Knoxville, so you'll definitely see a lot of them guys go there. They run Knoxville, and then they have another Tuesday show for high limit. That next Tuesday, it's at Arrowhead Speedway, which is right on the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas line right there. So it's not super far away from where they'll be at.
So we're saying next month you'll probably see a lot of collab or a lot of.
Yeah, my prediction will probably totally be wrong. High Limit will dominate Knoxville weekend, and I'll come in here looking like an idiot. Looks like when I was talking Spencer Baston up, and so far he's won 1 race and totally fallen off the map.
Hey, listen.
It's like, well, my prediction looked good for one night, I guess.
Hey, listen, he got one. He's got one more than a lot of people.
Even High Limit, I'm like, oh, Reitzel's going to dominate the High Limit thing. Which, I mean, he did flip. It took him way out of it.
I'm going to say 323, episode 35. Brad said High Limit was not going to be good. And then when they go there and annihilate them.
They're going to come out and dominate.
Gravel has a terrible night. Yeah. We can go back and replay that for you.
No doubt about it. My prediction it'll be like all those pools I try to play and make all my picks. I'm like, I feel good about this. And I pull it up and I'm like 100th out of 105 people that are playing this pool. I'm like, why do I even do this?
Yeah, I know. I did that it's a lot different because there's so many more cars, but I've done that for Chili Bowl and it never goes good for me. But yeah, I look forward to those. I think they'll be pretty good. I wondered when they would.
I'm definitely looking forward to their crossover events because like that's a must see event when they cross over.
All the best.
Yeah, all the best. They're all there. Like
you're getting what you're asking for. You want all the best in one place.
That's a must see event when they all finally come together. You know, it'll be a few times a year. They'll have Eldora and Knoxville's, things like that, and of course, end of the year out in PA when you get the National Open, there'll probably be a lot of them coming together there and stuff.
And not to mention, it's Knoxville. Like what happened at the Nationals last year? You had a Knoxville guy that killed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Ryan Timms, I mean, now you can't deny. I mean, he put on such a show, and not only that, he went out and he won Port Royal. Mm-hmm. He won several races with those guys. So it's not like he's not a threat. So you'll have hometown guys like that.
Oh, yeah. They'll probably have about 60 cars there, and it'll be a must see event for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else that we had?
Yeah,
we talked about Trump and Memphis.
I know Bo isn't here. Oh man, I wish I'd have saved this. I know Bo's not here, but we got to put somebody on the board.
Okay, all right.
Because Riverside had their first practice.
Oh yeah, that was something else I wanted to bring up. I wanted to ask if anybody listening. I know Stormy's been in the chat. I was seeing her commenting. She was saying that Reitzel would have won it last year had it not been for the injuries. But I was just curious if anybody at practice kind of showed out, if there's anybody new that we need to be paying attention to here locally, or
there's a
new rides.
There's a guy that moved back from California. I want to say he's originally from Little Rock, and he was in the military. I think he's been in California racing. Caleb Engel. Pretty sure that's his name. Caleb Engel, I think is his name. I remember his car, number 34. He was at the practice day, but he's going to be running Riverside races this year. And like he'll be running Crawley's Ridge because old number one led stuff in Arkansas. He put out a little schedule. That's what he was going to do. But yeah, there is a new car. He just moved back from California, and he's going to be in this area this year.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool little pickup for them because he's races those bull rings out there, so he'll be pretty fast when he does come. But yeah, I think that's well, there is the guy that won Kenny Koch's car. I think their last name is Ivy. They were there practicing, but he doesn't have a lot of laps in the sprint car or anything. But
yeah.
But yeah, the Caleb Engel thing stood out to me. He put a video on Facebook of an in-car camera, and he was ripping pretty good around there. So he ain't scared of it. So it'll be.
You said 305 or 360?
360.
360. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you saw Simmerman got him a ride.
Yeah,
360
ride. I already knew that. Yeah. So yeah, he's going to be in Mike Campton's car this year. So he'll be good at Riverside for sure.
I'll be curious to see how he does.
He'll be good at Riverside. He's good there in the 305s and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a little bit of an adjustment going to a 360, and he'll be going to some slicker tracks, different places. You know, he did get some experience on slick when they went to Benton this year, so maybe that'll help him smooth that transition over a little bit because before he's mostly just run Riverside a lot.
Yeah.
So he did get a little bit of slick stuff when he went to Benton last year. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit of adjustment. But like I said, I think he'll gas it up. So I don't think.
Yeah. No, I think he will.
When's the first? That won't be an issue.
Is the first race April 4th?
April 4th.
It is April 4th. Cool. So I'll probably go to that because I definitely want to see. I think Paxton Gregory's back. He's got him a ride now.
He's gonna. I think that's a 305. I'm pretty sure. I remember the 16 car. They didn't race, and they hadn't raced it in like 2 years. I'm pretty sure it's a 305 unless they've gotten a 360.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's 305.
I can't remember. I saw the post today, but it didn't even dawn on me to see. I saw it was a sprint car, but I didn't even dawn on me to check and see if it was a 360.
I'm pretty sure the Skinner boys are starting up this year, but they weren't at practice day, so I don't know if their stuff isn't ready yet or what. But yeah, as far as the practice day goes, we got to put Chris Brandon on the board. He first he commented on one of the posts, and it said, "Man, I wish they wouldn't have taken all the gumbo off this track because it was a video of Connor Ray, which was they said it was later in the day and it was starting to blow dust and stuff." And he said, "Man, I wish they wouldn't have taken all the gumbo off this track." And I commented, I was like, brother, it was like 87 degrees. The sun was out. The wind was blowing 20. Like, it ain't going to be mud at midnight for practice day. They're not going to prep it the same. But there, you look at pictures and videos from like the early sessions, and there was plenty of moisture in it. It was just late in the day, so it started getting dusty. And so then I think it was another video of Connor Ray. He commented on it again, and he said, went from wet to dusty pretty quick. I'm like, again, it was 87 degrees. The wind was blowing 20. It was a daylight. Like, there's no daytime track in the country that's going to keep moisture in unless it rains 5 inches before we race. And one of the funny comments underneath it was Keith Ainsworth commented on it. He said, "I heard they took the gumbo out." He said, "Let's haul in about 10 truckloads and I'll split it with you." So yeah, a lot of people did take up for him in the comments and was like, yeah, that tends to happen when there's sunshine and water out, or when there's sunshine and wind blowing. And people were like, yeah, the track was awesome early in the day. This was later in the day. It's like, we didn't get one practice session and somebody is already complaining about the track. I cannot stand that. That annoys me to no end.
That's actually something I thought about too. When I was yesterday on the ride home, had plenty of time to think about it. I was thinking about the podcast tonight, and I was like, wow, can't nobody complain about the racetrack.
Yeah,
at these things,
you
have what you have. There is no complaining because of you can't. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
About these tracks, so. Dirt racing is in a lot of ways it's its own dang enemy when it comes to. But talking about somebody on the board, I'll put somebody on the board too. And it's one of the guys that was trashing me. Like I said, I wasn't even mad about this thing. Okay, I really wasn't. I was just messing around. I forget most people don't don't know my sense of humor. I may not be funny to a lot of people, but anyway, I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name, but he was one of the three that jumped on my case. If you want to go look it up, it was just look up D's Lug Nuts podcast, and you'll find it. You'll find the post where they talked about me spinning out. Get on there and take their side. Just I don't care. Get on there and just egg them on.
Braden
something.
Taylor, Kelsey Hall.
Yeah,
go get on those
go get on there
posts.
and trash me. I don't
Let
care.
them know what you think about Brandon.
Yeah, please tell them I hate kids. Like tell them everything. Like this guy trashes people for riding around slow around the bottom. Like just go do it. I don't care. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Tell me if you can. It's WJ Altizer.
That's the way I see it. Altizer.
I don't even know how to say his name, but it's not for what he said to me. I just thought, well, I wonder if I've seen these guys, like if I saw them there or anything. So I just looked through and I didn't recognize any of them. But the first post he said, so like Black Acid, did you see the IHRA's post for like advertisement for the race? Did you see any of those like on Facebook?
Yeah, it was like the little commercials they were.
Yeah, well, the commercial, like it'd be like a photo or something of a car. Okay, well, Black Acid car was one that they kept advertising for this race, and man, from minute one of practice on Friday, they were that 19 car, the Black Acid car, and I met them, Jesse and Bill, real nice folks. They actually come to Hitchcock and talk to us for a little while. And anyway, they were having some problems, some electrical problems, and I mean it lasted both days. They had a lot of gremlins, and they were just struggling. But anyway, so this guy, he apparently complains. He is to me the problem. This is the problem with freaking race fans or wannabes or whatever you want to call him. But he's like, he made this post, says Pulaski County Motorsports Park, where's the car you guys advertised the whole month leading up to the race? Why doesn't your flagman move lap cars out of the way for your leaders? I'll answer question 1 for you. She's watching. Can one of you answer question 2 for me? If y'all need experienced flagman or race director, I know a few people I recommend. Just saying. Okay, for one, I don't think anybody did not get out of the way for except for maybe me. But he's sitting there giving this chick and these guys crap. I'm like, okay, but they had gremlins like for 2 days. They kept fighting the car, just messing with it, and couldn't get it working right. They're hours from home, so I just looked down his Facebook and he was just griping and complaining,
everything,
just complaining. And he's sitting his butt in the stands. He's not out there. I don't see him out there helping anybody.
Yeah.
He's just one of those darfs, as we like to call them. So, so you're on the board for me, whoever you are. But anyway, that's all I got. What about you? Anything else?
All I got as well. Yeah.
You got to get home.
Yep.
You got.
I got to go relieve duty so Kim can shower and do all those things.
Yep. But and I got a little boy that is probably tired from T-ball practice.
He's probably already asleep.
We've started T-ball, guys. It's getting real at my house. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you go like our Facebook page if you haven't already done that. Share at least with one person. I'll give everybody a little bit of homework. If you just share with 3 people, just share this episode with 3 people. Let's try to grow our subscribers. We definitely want to do that. We want to try to grow this thing, but
and look them in the eye and tell them,
let her eat.
That's right. Let's get out of here.
See y'all. Wait a minute. I forgot I have to sit here and do this. I forgot. See